Everyone has a dream.
Open up a youth center.
Fashion company.
Film actor.
But only some choose to chase them.
Do I really believe that I've got what it takes?
This is Dream Quest.
I think I'm gonna encounter something big here.
This place is amazing. First of all, I love that it's yellow because we came up and like, this is a really happy house.
I had a chance to sit down with Holden today, and Holden, as much as anybody, is struggling to define why he's here.
I feel like this is a show that is wanting, story that you're wanting to achieve and wanting to take us from one point to another point. And if I were to pitch to the panel, if I were to pitch, this is my lifelong goal, these are the things that I'd want to do, I don't think that that's something that would fit into the parameters of what is being envisioned for the show.
That's perfect. That's exactly what we talked about with Flagler, So don't worry about that. You go with what's there, what's in you. Even if you think it's not what this show or anybody else wants to hear, if it's what's in you and it's real, go with that. That's what I'm talking about. Be authentically you.
I am really passionate about empowering people through tools and resources to become somebody and to do things that they didn't realize was possible.
You're here for a reason, I believe that. Whatever that is, just receive it.
Things are getting real too, like personalities are starting to crash together. Like me and Holden had a confrontation.
Wow. You mean during the challenge yesterday or something else?
Yeah, I was like, most people just lead by example. Like when he was like, take this part, take this part, take this part, and memorize it, it was good. But when he just started yelling,
stop, let me clear this out, let me clear this out. Get out, get off, let me clear this out.
Then that's when I was like,
oh yeah.
Do we need communication? You yelling is not going to improve anything.
you can't just yell at people. Like, that's not gonna work out. Like, when you open up that fitness center, you won't have any members because you don't know how to communicate.
This business is hard. The entertainment business is hard. And there are few greater places of judgment than in entertainment.
It was a really, honestly, mildly depressing time in my life. It became so much harder for me to be open and just communicate with other people.
Yeah.
So even now, I'm fighting to be like, where's that Jaleesa that I knew? Like, I'm still learning who am I.
Good morning. Good morning. Enjoying this gorgeous view?
Yeah.
Guess what I have? Sydney, would you read that for us?
Tell me, I will forget. Show me, I may remember. Involve me, and I will understand. Chinese proverb.
Good communication skills, no matter what you do, is going to be key to being a success.
Now today is the third event in the second round. So what that means is that after today's event, we will know who our second finalist is, along with Sydney, to go on into the finals. It is a two-person event. After today, the third round will be comprised of solely individual events. Now, in order to choose your partner fairly, we've written colors on these Dream Quest cards. You're going to come and draw a card. Whoever has the card with the same color written on it will be your partner for today's event. Before you do this, I want to let you know where your standings are. Holden and Jaleesa, the two of you are tied for first place right now, 400 points apiece. Taylor, Kylie Jean, Chris, and Timmy, all of you are tied right underneath them with 300 points apiece.
Who's in third?
Whoever we didn't say.
Sydney, let's start with you.
When they were passing out the cards, I was definitely wanting Sydney. I was wanting the tactician that she was. We work very well together.
It is really funny how things work out. It was random, completely random. All those cards were there, face down, we each picked one.
Time for the big reveal. Flip it
Flip it over.
I looked down at my card
I saw the color and I just had to smile at Sydney. It was deja vu. I had the opportunity to help her win the first round, and this time she had the opportunity to help me win the second round.
It was also a lot of pressure because I was nervous if I was the one to let him down, then I kind of had to live with that.
Going into the next challenge, I was praying and hoping it would not be water related.
So we're gonna do something really different today.
Just anything but water.
We're gonna do something on the water.
Right.
So go grab your matching rash guards and we'll get going.
And then we pull up into this grand boat. We see Sean and Courtney.
Hi, guys. All right, my friends, are you ready to hear about this event?
Courtney has this big old floppy hat up in this tall, big boat. She looks like royalty.
We arrived and saw the floating life vest and paddles. I knew they were anchored to something, but what exactly they were anchored to, I was trying to, figure that out.
As you can see, there are 4 bundles of paddles and life vests floating here in the water. Each one of those bundles is connected to a canoe that has been submerged approximately 12 feet down below.
I looked at the water and I was thinking, nah, that's not 12 feet. I know what 12 feet looks like.
My heart just sunk when I saw what we had to do because I was so beyond exhaustion.
That canoe has 2 anchors, one attached to the bow, one attached to the stern. It is your job to swim down and untie the anchor at the boat. Then the canoe is also filled with many cinder blocks. You also have to get those cinder blocks out of the canoe and raise the canoe to the surface. You cannot pull the canoe by one of the ropes. You must grab the canoe and raise it yourself to the surface.
Each and every detail that Courtney gave describing the event made my heart sink lower and lower into my stomach.
When you get to the surface, you need to grab your paddles, put on the life vest, and jump into the canoe. There's also a 5-gallon bucket in there if you need to bail out water or something like that. Then you're gonna race down and around that buoy all the way back to the finish line right here. Now there's one very important detail. This event is about communication. You will have 2 minutes to talk with your partner and communicate strategy. After that, you must be in the water.
When we were told this challenge is a communication event, I went, this is me, I'm gonna do great.
This is the final event in round 2. 5 of you still have a shot at winning this round and advancing to the finals. You must cross the finish line to receive points.
Okay, a couple things you want to remember while you're freediving.
So before the canoe challenge, our buddy George gave us a couple of keys at freediving and how to equalize so we wouldn't damage our ears.
You've got to clear your ears. One thing you don't want to do is dive through the pain. When you continue to dive, you'll actually swell the membranes in your ears and your sinuses and making it more difficult for you to clear later.
The longer we waited, the more nervous I got.
Anybody can go to 8 feet. It's everything past 8 feet that your ears have to clear for. The snorkel's simple. It's just a tube that's going to get where there's dry to where there's wet. So you want this to be full of air and not full of water. As you go below, it's going to fill with water. To get water out of it, very simple. When you get to the surface of the water, you just say 2 as loud as you can through the snorkel. It'll displace the water out and you'll be able to breathe. If you try to breathe like this, you're looking up and you're trying to breathe, then of course you're going to suck water and it becomes a straw at that point. So what you want to do is you want to make sure your face is in the water and you'll be able to breathe.
So each team has 2 minutes to strategize. In the boat, in the water, it doesn't matter, but after 2 minutes, everyone has to be in the water. And this is going to be an interesting event. We're going to especially be watching Holden and Jaleesa because both of them have the opportunity to win round 2 with this event.
On your mark, get set, go.
So their strategies were interesting. As soon as we said go, 2 teams jumped into the water and 2 stayed back to come up with their plan in the boat.
As soon as they said go, we both just jumped right in and dove straight to the canoe because I knew until I actually physically see what it looks like on the bottom of the ocean, I have no idea how to strategize for that.
Sydney and I, from the very get-go, we communicated with our eyes, and then when we were able to talk on the water, I told her, I said, anything you're thinking, don't keep it in your head, say it out loud. So we were very much back and forth all the time, encouraging each other and thinking through all the problems so that we could have two minds instead of one.
I didn't know where to begin with that one. That was just insane.
The hardest thing about the canoe challenge was I couldn't do it.
So I had this monster, game-changing plan. And I turn to Jalisa, I'm ready to tell her, I'm excited about it. And I look at her and she gives me this she just says, I can't do this, Chris. I'll climb in the boat first.
Okay.
Because all the weight.
I just have to tell you that I don't know if I can do this challenge. I just had to look at my partner Chris and tell him, man, I can't do this.
Do your best. I'm here to help you out, okay? Because I can't get on, but you can. It stunk because I couldn't move on anyway, but I knew she could, and I was going to, do whatever I could to, propel her into the finals.
I really, really didn't want to do the challenge at all. But Chris looked at me with his hopeful eyes, and I agreed, all right, let's at least try.
You got this. Let's do this. Come on, let's go.
Feet. Staying down there for more than 2 seconds was a challenge for everybody, myself included.
Oh man, that was tough.
White team, you all right?
The canoe challenge brought me to a place of understanding where my limits are. I can only go so far and push myself so much before I break.
White team, you all right?
Yeah, but it's not happening. Not going to be a free dive. We're close.
We're calling it.
It's so much different when you're in that moment where you're at a crossroads and pressure and pressure and pressure is building in you. I just collapsed under it.
I don't think I've ever quit anything in my life. I've wanted to quit things, but I've never actually followed through with it. So when that call was made, I was really disheartened and really bummed.
Every day I wake up and I have these doubts that start creeping in. They come very slowly, and it's almost like a cloud that starts covering my vision. And it's all of these lies that say, you can't do this, like, you're not good enough. There's so many other people more qualified than you are. It's so much easier to just give up. I was really feeling the strain of the competition physically and mentally. I was just going through fighting a lot of inner demons.
I gotta admit, when I watched Jalisa quit, my heart just ached for her because I knew that the events leading up to that, she had really struggled. She felt like things were out of her control, and I think her mind got the best of her. The doubts took over, and she quit before she even tried. And I think in some areas, that's been a snapshot of her life that she struggled with.
So that's how we gotta look at it. That's how we gotta look at it.
Come get some towels, guys.
I actually had so much fun in that, I think, because Timmy and I were partnered up and we work really well together. I remember we had a lot of eye contact and it was a lot of like, we got this, like psyching each other up.
Come on, Timmy! That was solid, baby. Let's go!
And then at one point we came up and we just looked at each other and busted out laughing. We're like, we don't have this.
It wasn't a challenge of speed, it was a challenge of who could stay calm, cool, and collected throughout the entire challenge. Because those taunts, 12 feet, when your heart is racing at whatever it was, 180 beats per minute, and you're consuming oxygen that quickly, the best strategy is literally to sit on top of the water for 30 seconds or a minute just to calm down and collective breathing.
I was diving down, I'm trying to do these knots, I'm pitching them, doing every way you have to like untie these knots. They were just so tight I couldn't get them.
They were all having such a hard time, and I was really feeling for them, and I thought, maybe this is really just too hard.
I couldn't even get down 10 feet. So it really frustrated me because I felt like, again, how am I going to help in this situation?
Taylor was having a tough time, but I was there for her. You know, she's one of my friends, and I've grown to really appreciate her, and I owed it to her, especially from the challenge before I let her down, and this time I wasn't going to.
Matt was really great because he took the time from the previous challenge to sit down and ask me, like, what bothered you? Really tell me. And he did great on that team challenge.
I want to be that person in people's lives where I can push them and make them better people. And that really came from when I was a kid. I had so many problems when I was a kid. Not me personally, but in my family. And I had to take, the role of the hero in the family, and I had to just keep pushing, show everybody that I was fine, to make them feel like they were fine.
Finally got all those blasted knots undone. We got the weights out, and it was just elation to see it just finally rise from the dead.
As soon as we saw it rising up, it was like, okay, relief. Now we have to focus on the next part of the task.
Then we had to get the water out, which is a lot harder than it seems.